Hey IQers, Jonathan Levinson here with your daily Excel tip. So in this session, we're going to talk about some additional formulas that you can use, as well as nesting those formulas, right? So more than one formula within a formula. So pretty familiar with this data if you've watched any of the other presentations. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change this to a table. Again, I always recommend using a table, especially when it comes to formulas, because they automatically get updated when entering in new data. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Insert Table. It's going to pick my range. Now I got a nice little table. So the first one I want to talk about is length, right? So I'm not going to go through the reasons why you would utilize these, right? Because data is going to vary and what you're trying to get to is going to vary, but I just want to kind of show you some of those functions. So let's look at the length or len function. So again, I'm going to start my formula with equal. I'm going to hit len. You can see it comes back with the length, right? Returns the number of characters in a text string. So I'm going to go ahead and tab this out. And then what I'm going to do is click on an item that I want to get the number of characters. So in this case, we're just going to look at our item or column G. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And what you'll notice is it has automatically gone and filled in because, again, it was a table. I didn't have to drag down my formulas. I could see the length of each item that was sold. So the next formula I wanted to talk about is the trim function. So what the trim does is it will remove any additional spaces. So for instance, if I had this rep, right, and let's say there was a space in between Jones. I'm doing a VLOOKUP. That's why that just went to a state of NA. But let's say I do have a space in the rep's name and I really need to just get to the name and that space is screwing up my X lookups or additional formulas, I can use the equal trim function. And what you'll notice is once I choose the rep, you'll notice that it actually took out that space character. Very useful if you have some bad data. And you're trying to again look up some values. Next one is the right function. So it's pretty obvious. We want to look at X amount of characters from the right. So I'm going to go ahead equal. I'm going to start typing in right. I'm going to tab it. Let's look at the region. So at the first thing it's going to ask for is what text do you want to look at? So in this case, we're going to look at the region. I'm going to go ahead and hit a comma, and then it says the number of characters. So in this case, let's just say we wanted 2. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And what you'll notice is it grabs the first 2 characters from the right. In this case, it's ST. In this case, it's AL, so on and so forth. It's the same thing with the left, right? It's going to ask you what text. So in this case, we're going to pick our region again, and we say, let's say we want to look at 3 characters. So you're going to see it's going to take the first 3 characters from the left. Let's go to mid. So mid's a good one. Maybe you want to look at some characters in between or return information that's within a string. So good example, let's say we want to get let's say the second character only from the region. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and type equals mid. It's first going to ask, well, what text do I want to start with? Well, I want to start with the region. What number, right? So where do you want to start? Well, in this case, let's say we wanted to start on character 2, and I want to return the next 50 characters. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And what you'll notice is it went and took AST because we asked to start a mid function on the second character, and so on and so forth. I know I went through some ifs in some previous, but I just wanted to kind of go over it again, right? If is going to, it's a logical function or a formula, so it's going to check if something's true. So if it's true, do something, otherwise don't do it. So in this case, I'm going to hit equal if, I'm going to tab it out. So it says, okay, what's the test? So I want to say if this, so if the region equals, and I'm going to put in double quotes, so if it equals east, then go ahead and give me a y. Otherwise, right, if the value is false, give me an n. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and you're going to notice for every time it's on the east, right, it's going to have a y. Otherwise, it's going to have an n. Another good one, concatenate. I do this quite often. Sometimes it helps with looking up multiple fields. So a concatenate, so let's say equals, we're going to type in concant. You're actually going to get two different ones. One's an older function, and one's actually a newer one. The concatenate's the old one. Concat is the new one. You can use either or. So I'm going to go ahead and say my text one is I am from the, and I'm going to go ahead and close my quotes. I'm going to put a space, quotes, comma. I'm going to pick my region and close it out. So you could see it automatically concatenated that information, right? I am from the east, I am from the central, I am from the region. So let's get started with that nesting of the formulas. So in this example, we're going to use an if with an and a right formula. So what we want to do in this example is I wanted to show a y or yes if the item equals a pencil and the right of the rep equals of the first character, the right one equals S. If all that has been met, I want you to give me a Y. Otherwise, I want you to give me an N. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first thing, right? It's logical. So we're going to say if, and then we're going to use the operator, right? We need multiple criteria that needs to be met. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and type and we're going to tab it out. So now it's asking what's that logic, right? Logic 1, comma, logic 2. So in this case, we want to say if the item, right, equals, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in double quotes because it's text. So if it's equal to pencil, close my quotes, comma, and the right tab out of the rep, one character, right? We only want to turn one character starting from the right. Close that out, equals, double quotes, S. Didn't like that, sorry. Hit the wrong button. So if it equals yes, we're going to go ahead and close the and out. So if that's all true, right, let's give it a Y, comma. Otherwise, if that's not true, then go ahead and give it an N. So we're going to go ahead and close that out, hit OK, and we can see the Y, right, because this has facilitated this. So this found the last character, it is an S, and this was sold, the item that was sold was a pencil. So the last and final nested formula we're going to go through is we'll use an if with a length and concatenate. Okay, so again, let's start with an if. So equals if, tab. What's our logical test? Well, we want to look at the length. So I'm going to say the length of which text. I'm going to go with the item. I'm going to go ahead and close that, right? That's my function. And I'm going to say is less than or equal to 3. So if that's equal to 3, then I want you to concatenate or concat. I want you to give me the rep. Otherwise, whoops, let's close that out. If that's not true, let's just say nothing. Go ahead and close that out. And what you'll see is we have nothing here, right? Because that logic hasn't been met because we're looking the length. So the length of the item needs to be less than or equal to 3. And if that's true, we can concatenate the rep rocks. So you can see here, this is the end result. Otherwise, we get nothing. So hopefully that kind of opens up some minds and you guys can understand. I know a lot of people have hard time nesting formulas, but it's quite useful. Helps you manipulate that data. And that's it. Hope you guys have a great day and be safe out there. Thanks.